Another season of the UEFA Nations League is soon upon us. The third edition of this great competition. Yes, there's a lot of implications when it comes to the UEFA Euros qualifying process, also a preparation for the World Cup later this year. 4 leagues to go through, a lot of groups to predict. Let's just get straight to the predictions and give your predictions in the comment section down below. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and further ado, let's get to the predictions of League D, C, B, and A. So we're going to start off with League D. And let's start off with Group A, where we have Liechtenstein, Moldova, Andorra, and Latvia. No real huge analysis going to go on in this League D. Andorra are going to finish last, as we all know. They're very much in minnows. They're not really going to progress in football, international football. Maybe they can get somewhat better, but Andorra are going to finish last. Liechtenstein will finish third. They've been getting better, but they're still very much in minnow, and they're very much in a difficult position as well to get better in international football. So Liechtenstein third, and then between Moldova and Latvia, I went with Moldova second and Latvia first. Latvia, who were at the bottom of the bottom in their international football history back in 2017, have slowly risen more and more. Obviously, we know their only appearance ever in an international competition was UEFA Euros 2004, but Latvia will win this group. Moldova have been trailing a little bit in the last couple of years. Yes, Sheriff Tiraspol made it, but that Sheriff Tiraspol side didn't really have any Moldovans in the starting 11, so I think Latvia will win this group and Moldova will finish second. Then on to Group D2, where we have Malta, Estonia, and San Marino. Well, I think we all know who's going to finish last. The greatest national team in the world, San Marino, are going to finish last. Sorry, San Marino. If there's anybody from San Marino watching, please let me know in the comment section down below. Then it's between Estonia and Malta, right? Malta have been getting better and better, but they're still as also a minnow. So I think Estonia will win this group. They were so close to qualifying Euro 2012. Maybe they can get back to that stage in the next couple of years, but they're still a long, long way from that process. So maybe this is the start of something great for Estonia. They have to get better than what they are right now. This is the lowest they have been in a long, long time. So I think Malta will finish second and Estonia to win the group. Now we move on to League C, and we're going to predict League C Group 1, where we have Turkey, Luxembourg, Lithuania, and Faroe Islands. First place, it better be Turkey. They surely cannot F this one up, and they won't. Stefan Kuntz's side, yes, they didn't make it to the World Cup, but they're now in a new phase of Turkish football, and Stefan Kuntz's now ultimate goal is to qualify to Euro 2024 and have a better performance. So I think Turkey will no doubtably finish first in this group. In second place, I think it's going to be Luxembourg. And Luxembourg, yes, they were a minnow back in the past, but now they have players playing in top leagues around the world. Players like Sebastian Thiele, Sheriff Tiraspol. You look at Matthias Olsen at Köln, Maximum Chonot at New York City FC. So they have a lot of good players, Luxembourg, and maybe they can be a surprise debutant at Euro 2024. But they will finish second in this group. In third place, I think will be Faroe Islands, another team that were the minnows, but now are slowly rising. And, you know, they have a lot of players playing in Denmark and Norway and these sort of countries. So Faroe Islands have definitely benefited from the Nations League, and they will finish third. And I think in last place, it's going to be Lithuania, who, yeah, they haven't been great recently. So that's going to be my prediction for League C1. Move on to Group 2 of League C, where we have Greece, Northern Ireland, Cyprus, and Kosovo. So in fourth position, I think it's going to be Cyprus. They can make it a tough group. This is actually a very tough group to predict because all of them are getting better. Northern Ireland have a little bit faded. Kosovo are still rising, very young nation, a very young footballing nation. They have a lot of young talent. But I think Cyprus are going to finish last in this group. In third position, I think it's going to be Kosovo. Kosovo, who have gotten better and better. But that performance in the last qualifiers for the World Cup wasn't the greatest. They didn't perform that well. They were conceding a lot of goals, so that's something they need to work on in this Nations League and in the Euro qualifiers. And in second position, I think it's going to be Northern Ireland. Yes, the glory days are kind of over. 2016 was the high, reaching the round of 16. They did Switzerland a massive favor by drawing with Italy at home. But Northern Ireland, they're going to make life difficult for the opponents. Can they get the goal scoring? That's going to be the issue for them. So in first place, I think it's going to be Greece, who, as we all know, Euro 2004 winners. They have a lot of talent. You look at Tsimikas, Pavlidis, and their manager is Gus Poyet. You probably didn't even know that, but Gus Poyet, obviously a former Premier League manager. So Greece have the tools to get back to not the Euro 2004 phase, but qualifying regularly for international tournaments. So I think Greece are going to win this group. Move on to Group C3 of the Nations League, where we have Slovakia, Kazakhstan, Belarus, and Azerbaijan. So in fourth position, I think it will be Belarus. They've also been fading a lot, man. They used to be good. Remember Alexander Hleb of Arsenal and Barcelona? Very, very good player. But Belarus just don't produce any sort of talent anymore. So I think they're going to finish in fourth position. Kazakhstan, who were actually very surprising in their World Cup qualifiers, drew with Ukraine twice, drew with Bosnia twice. They can make life difficult, counterattacking very well, playing on their artificial turf at home. So Kazakhstan have actually improved a little bit, but they're still going to finish third. In second position, I think it will be Azerbaijan. They've been improving. You know, Karabakh usually qualifying for Europa Leagues, getting better talent moving to Germany and these sort of countries. But Azerbaijan are still, you know, they're doing well, right? They're a regular in the League C of the Nations League, so they're going to finish second. And in first place, it should be Slovakia, right? You'll look at Lobotka, Skriniar, Marek Hamšík still. This team is too good to be in League C. They're a League B sort of team, but they should be winning this group quite comfortably. So that's going to be my prediction. Slovakia first. And the final group in League C, we have Gibraltar, Bulgaria, North Macedonia, and Georgia. So in fourth position, it's Gibraltar. I don't need to say why. They're minnows, but it's awesome that they're in League C. They get to elevate their competition rather than being stuck in League D. But Gibraltar will finish last in this group. In third position is Bulgaria, as we all know, semifinalists in the 1994 World Cup, and how the mighty have fallen. They used to, I mean, obviously you look at the players that they have now, it just doesn't compare to that team in 1994. But Bulgaria, they can benefit. They can look at an example of like Finland, for example, right? We started in League C, then we move on to League B, we qualify to Euros. Maybe Bulgaria can use that as momentum, but they just don't have the talent across Europe to compete with Georgia and North Macedonia. In second position, I think it will be Georgia, who have a lot of young and exciting talent. You look at the goalkeeper Georgi Marmardashvili at Valencia, regular goalkeeper at Valencia, so he's doing very well. Guram Kasia, the captain, 34 years old, leading the experience. You have David at FC Copenhagen. So Georgia actually have a lot of good talent coming through, and it's an exciting time. Now they can also benefit from the Nations League, get a good seeding in the Euro qualifiers, and do well, and maybe possibly make it to the Euro 2024. But I think Georgia will finish second, and in first place, of course, it will be North Macedonia, the team who upset Italy, the team who made their debut at last year's Euros. Fantastic story. They can only still get better. They've also been doing very well in the under 21s. You look at Trajkovski, Alioski, Elmas, Bardi. They have so many good players, North Macedonia. So I think they're going to finish first in this group, but it's going to be a tight battle with Georgia. Now we move on to League B of the Nations League. In the first group, we have Ukraine, Scotland, Armenia, and the Republic of Ireland. So in fourth position in this group, I think it's going to be Armenia. Yes, they're done very well. They're now in the League B after they started in League D of the Nations League, but they just don't have the players to compete with Scotland, Ukraine, or Ireland. But they can definitely make life difficult. They were doing very well in the last qualifiers for the World Cup, and then they just started fading at the end of the qualification process. But obviously with Mkhitaryan, anything is possible. But this is a very difficult group for them, so I think they're going to drop down back to League C. Third position, I think it will be the Republic of Ireland. Look, they've been going through some dark times recently. Losing to Luxembourg, that's a low point of Irish football. They need to start getting back to the level that they should be at, right? Stephen Kenny, the manager, started off horribly. They've been doing now better, getting a draw against Portugal, for example, 0-0. So they have a lot of young talent. You'll look at Kelleher, of course, the goalkeeper, Adam Ida, the striker at Norwich City. They have some good players, but it's still a rebuild phase for this Irish national team, and I think they're going to finish third, but they're moving in the right direction after the very, very low times they were at. Second position, I think it's going to be Scotland. We know Steve Clarke has done an absolutely marvelous job in his time as the Scottish national team manager. Where they were at, losing to Kazakhstan 3-0, qualifying for the Euros in dramatic fashion on a penalty shootout win over Serbia, and now doing relatively well at the Euros. Obviously, their ultimate goal is to qualify to the World Cup, as they will also be facing Ukraine in the playoff, and if they win that game, they'll face Wales for a spot at the World Cup. So that's their ultimate goal, but they want to make it to another Euros and continue the trend that they were setting in the 80s, the 70s, and the 90s, where Scotland were always qualifying to the major competitions. Yes, it's wonderful doing it once, but can you do it back to back? That's the ultimate goal for Steve Clarke's side, and we know the players: Andy Robertson, Lyndon Dykes, Shea Adams, John McGinn, Callum McGregor. They have a lot of good players, and it's just going to be a matter of, do they want to go all out in the Nations League, get a good seeding, and then have an easy group for the Euro qualifiers? Let's see what the mentality of the Scottish national team will be, but we know with Steve Clarke, they have been performing very well. But I think they'll finish second in this group. And in first position, I think it will be Ukraine, right? We know what's going on, but let's stick it to football. Alexander Petrikov has done a good job. They were drawing a lot of games. Remember, Ukraine didn't lose a single game in the World Cup qualifiers because they drew so many matches. So the key for them is win the games. If you're in a drawing position against Armenia, you must win those games because they drew twice with Kazakhstan, like I said earlier. But the players, Roman Yaremchuk, Zinchenko, Yarmolenko, Malinovsky, the talent is endless. Ukraine, maybe they'll have more motivation nowadays to represent their nation. So I'm expecting big things from Ukraine. So I think they'll finish first in this group. We move on to Group B2, where we only have 3 teams, as Russia was disqualified and relegated to League C. So the 3 teams is Albania, Israel, and Iceland. In third position, none of these teams can get relegated. So no matter what, they will stay in League B. But I think in third position, it's going to be Iceland. For a team that were doing so well in 2016 and 2018, they have fallen off drastically. There's been issues at the federation. They don't have the high-class players that they used to have, like a certain player at Everton. They're just missing a lot of key players nowadays. They have a lot of young talent. A lot of the young players go to either the Netherlands or Denmark and develop there, but they're not like a key player at a major club across Europe. So that's the problem I have with Iceland, and they've been going through a lot of federation problems. So maybe this is the start of a rebuild for them, but I think they'll finish third in this group. In second position is the high-scoring Israel. This team, they love to score, but then they love to concede. So that's going to be the main thing for Israel during this group, is not to concede as many goals as they did. And they need to perform better, much better, away from home. They're a very good home side. And then when they go away from home, they just turn into a minnow. We know Zahavi and a very good young talent at Celtic, Leo Abada. So Israel got a lot of good players. They can score, but they're going to concede, and they'll finish second. In first position, I think it will be Albania, a very good side who pushed Poland almost all the way in the World Cup qualifiers, and they have a lot of good talent coming through and a lot of experience. You look at Hisa Jimisti and, of course, Armando Broja at Southampton, who's now back at Chelsea. So Albania have a lot of good players, and it's just about putting it together and finding the right tactics heading into the Euro qualifiers and making their second ever appearance at the Euros after their debut at Euro 2016. But I think Albania will actually relatively easily win this group and finish first. We move on to Group B3, where we have Montenegro, Romania, Finland, and Bosnia again. And again and again. Love you, Bosnians. It's again Finland and Bosnia. In fourth position, I think it will be Montenegro. Yes, they're a team that are very difficult to break down. They're going to make life difficult, but they have a lot of aging players and don't have a lot of youth coming in through the squad, right? You look at Savic and Jovetic. Yes, they are very experienced players, but they're getting up in age. They don't have the quality in the midfield to compete with the other teams in this group, but Montenegro will make life difficult. They're not going to be a minnow in this group, but I think they'll still finish fourth. In third position, I think it will be Bosnia and Herzegovina. Look, Bosnia, they are a very good team. Very great home support, as we all know. It's always difficult to go play in Bosnia, but they have a lot of federation problems going on at the moment. They have a lot of aging players going on at the moment with Pjanic and Dzeko. But I look at their center back, Hamzi Hodzic at Bordeaux. He's a very talented center back. But where is the rest of the players? Kolasinac, okay, he's an alright left back. But where's the goal scorer other than Dzeko? That's the problem with this squad. You can look at Demirovic, but Demirovic is not really a natural striker. He's more of a number 10. So, while I love Bosnia, they've given Finland a lot of heartache in the last couple of years. But maybe Finland have given them more heartache, especially Pukki. But I think they'll finish third. Maybe this is a good rebuild phase now to start going and prepare themselves for the Euros qualifiers. And they need to use this time valuably. But I think they'll finish third in this group. In second position, I think it'll be Romania. Look, Romania actually did pretty well in the World Cup qualifiers, but they effed it up. They could have easily finished in the playoff spot, but chose not to, by drawing with, I think, Iceland in the final group stage. Let me know if that's correct, if they did draw with Iceland. I can't fully remember. They have some good players. Haji, obviously the son of Haji, is probably going to be injured. Has had a good season with the Rangers, but he's going to be injured. You look at Kirakesh, obviously the center back at Sassuolo, so they got some exciting players coming through, but they lack quality in certain areas, but they could easily win this group as well. They gave some tough games to Germany. They're a side, they don't concede a lot of goals, but they don't score a lot of goals, right? For example, in the last qualification, they scored 2 against Liechtenstein, only 1 against Romania, 2 against Liechtenstein, so they're lacking a natural goal scorer in the squad, and that's what's hindering Romania, but they're going to make life difficult, but I still think they're going to finish second. In first position, Suomi, it will be Finland. Now, am I biased? Of course I am, but I actually do think that Finland can finish first in this group. If Finland were in the next group that we're going to talk about, I would say they would finish 3rd or 4th, but this is a winnable group for Finland, right? This is a little bit of a rebuild phase. Some players retired after the last qualification process, and new players are coming in. Still got Pukki, of course. You got still Pohjanpalo, Glenn Kamara, Jero Uronen, Lukas Radecki. I absolutely love Lukas Radecki, by the way, guys. I think he's one of the best goalkeepers in Europe. But I'm just worried about the midfield for Finland, right? There's no natural CDM. Yes, we have Rasmus Schuller, but I don't think he's good enough to be winning this group. And our center-back pairing needs to get cohesion. I love Daniel O'Shaughnessy, and he needs to develop much more, but he is turning into a very good center-back, made a move to the second Bundesliga, and he's done well. But I still think Finland have enough quality, especially with Pukki and Pohjanpalo. You cannot keep those two guys quiet. Pohjanpalo was the second top goal scorer in the Turkish league for a relegation side. Pukki was involved in 60% of Norwich's goals this season. So those two, if you can keep them quiet, okay, you can beat Finland. But it's going to be difficult keeping those two guys quiet. So I think Finland will win this group and make it to League A. We move on to the final group of League B, where it is a very tasty group. We have Slovenia, Serbia, Norway, and Sweden. Get the popcorn ready for this group. This is going to be exhilarating football and probably high scoring in some of the matches. In 4th position, I think it's going to be Slovenia, but this is a team you cannot write off. Jan Oblak in goal, Benjamin Šeško at striker, a very young striker who's at Red Bull Salzburg, who's a huge talent. You look at Sandy Lovric at Udinese. This team has got a lot of talent in all the departments, but they're facing 3 tough teams in this group. So I think it's going to, if Slovenia were in Group B or Group C, they could do better. But because of this group, I think Slovenia they're gonna make life difficult, and they can get goals. They just don't have enough quality to beat the other teams. So I think Slovenia will finish last in this group. In 3rd position, I think it's going to be Sweden. Look, I have nothing against Sweden, but they bottled it in the World Cup qualifiers. They are lacking a little bit of a striker at the moment. Alexander Isak is a great striker, but he's been having a terrible season at Real Sociedad. You got the creative guy, Kulusevski. You got Jesper Karlsson. You got Elanga. But they don't score enough goals. And their negative football at times could hinder them in qualifying to the Euros. They'll still qualify to the Euros because I think they're one of the best. They're one of the 24 best teams in Europe. But they need to start getting a new attacking play, right? They need to get some goal scoring. So I think Sweden are going to finish 3rd in this group. In 2nd position, I think it will be Norway. Now look at the names I'm going to read off right now of all the players that they have at their disposal. Erling Haaland, ever heard of that striker? Martin Ødegaard, ever heard of him? Jens Petter Hauge, did well at Eintracht Frankfurt. Josh King, he plays a completely different style of football once he gets to Norway instead of Watford. Alexander Sorloth can be a goal scorer. This team is full of talent. And Ståle Solbakken, the manager, has done a very good job. And they are scoring for fun. Yes, it was disappointing to lose to Netherlands, but maybe that's a learning curve that this young side can take. They drew with Netherlands earlier, right? In the World Cup qualifiers. They beat Latvia, beat Gibraltar, of course, drew with Turkey. I think that draw against Latvia really did hurt them, but their last result was a 9-0 victory over Armenia. Yes, it's Armenia, but 9-0? That shows how scary this team can be. And I think Norway, they're in the right process and in the right direction heading into the Euro qualifiers, And I think they're going to qualify, and I think they're going to finish 2nd in this group. In 1st position, it's going to be Serbia. Dragan Stojkovic has done a marvelous job since becoming Serbian national team manager. And the players they have, and the way they obliterated Portugal in Portugal was a miracle to watch. Maybe not a miracle in the sense that it was an upset, but the way they just played the football and outplayed Portugal in their own home. And I think that's why they can be a dangerous team at the World Cup. But they need to qualify for Euros finally. They haven't qualified for a European Championship since 2000. And they regularly qualify for the World Cup, but then they just can't do it for the Euros. So they need to get a good seeding, and we know the players they have. Kostic, Tadic, Mitrovic, Milinkovic, Stefan Mitrovic. This team is just full of talent, full of creators, full of goal scorers, full of good defenders, full of good goalkeepers. And Dragan Stojkovic seems to have an identity with them and has a good cohesion with the Serbian national team. And I think they're going to finish first and get a good seeding and maybe qualify for the Euros in 2024. So now we move on to League A, where the big boys are at, the big names, the big players, the star players. So let's start off with Group A1, where we have France, Austria, Denmark, and Croatia. In fourth position, I think it's going to be Austria. They hired a new manager, Ralf Rangnick. Can he bring a new philosophy to this side? We know they have a lot of great players, Arnautovic, David Alaba, and these sort of guys. But Austria have been, ever since that great game they played against Italy at the Euros, they've been faltering a little bit. Being hammered at home by Denmark, drawing, losing away to Israel. This side is just so inconsistent that Ralf Rangnick needs to find consistency. They're in a tough group. And that's why I think, because they're in such a tough group, they're going to finish last in Group A1. In third position, I think it's going to be Croatia. Zlatko Dalic is a great manager. There's no denying that. They have great midfield. Modric, Kovacic, Brozovic. They have some good attackers. Perisic, Kramaric, Brekalo, and good defenders. Sosa, Stanisic, Barisic. The problem for them is they can defend well, they can control the games, but they lack a natural goal scorer. I think ever since Mandzukic has retired from the national team, they haven't found a replacement for him. And that's something that's hindering this side. With Mandzukic at the World Cup in 2018, look what happened. They did well at the Euros, they pushed Spain, they made a great comeback, but they still lack a natural goal scorer. And Perisic is getting old, but the guy is fantastic. But he cannot be your only goal scorer in the side. So I think they're going to finish third in this group. In second position, I think it's going to be Denmark. Under their also great manager, Kasper Hjulmand. Look, Denmark were absolutely marvelous at the Euros without Christian Eriksen. And now he's back. And he already scored back in March in some friendlies. Christian Eriksen can help this side even elevate even more with the players they have. Skov Olsen, Christian Eriksen, Højbjerg, Joachim Male, Kasper Schmeichel. Josef Poulsen is still valuable to this team. Kasper Dolberg, who's had a difficult time at Nice this season, but he steps up his game for the Danish national team. So I think Denmark, they're going to play France at the World Cup. Why not get into their head? Why not beat them twice in this Nations League? Find a good identity, find a good tactic to break them down and to defeat them. But I think they're still going to finish second in this group. And in first place, it will be the defending world champions, France. Didier Deschamps has changed now into a 5-in-the-back formation ever since that calamity of a collapse against Switzerland at the Euros. When you have Theo Hernandez playing left wing back, that's marvelous. One of the best attacking fullbacks in the world. You have the rise of Chouameni in the midfield. Pair him next to Kante. Pair him next to either Guendouzi. And up front, they have an array of talent. Benzema, Mbappe, Coman, and Nkunku. Defensively, they have gotten stronger because now they play even the 5-in-the-back, so they look much more solid than at the Euros where they were just all over the place. And clearly this team cannot play 4-in-the-back anymore. They just can't. When they play at a 5-in-the-back, they have much more security and they don't concede as many goals. So I think France are going to finish first, but still, will that World Cup curse hit them later this year? Time will tell, but I think they're going to finish first in this group. Move on to Group A2, where we have Czech Republic, Switzerland, Spain, and Portugal. In fourth position, I think it's going to be Czech Republic. Jaroslav Sihalvi also is a very good manager. Did well with the squad, making it to the quarterfinals at the Euros in 2021. Played in 2021. But this side weren't the greatest against Sweden. right? I think they were really missing Patrick Schick. And once Patrick Schick returns, he's now back from injury, this side will play much different. But they're in a very tough group against 3 other good teams. But you can't deny this team is very good. Barak, Suchek, Kufal, Tomas Holes, they got a lot of good players. But I just wonder, do they have enough to beat the other 3 teams in this group? Maybe they can win 1 or 2 games, but it's going to be difficult. So I think they're going to finish 4th in the group. In 3rd position, might surprise you, I'm going to go with Portugal. Yes, I'm going to go with Portugal. Okay, they did good in March. You beat Turkey and you beat North Macedonia. You played a much more attacking brand of football. Thank you, Fernando Santos, aka the Dinosaur. We've been calling for that for years from you, and now you finally do it when it matters. Is he going to go back to his stubborn ways and play defensive football with Danilo Pereira and William Carvalho at the CDM role? If that happens, bye-bye to any World Cup success this year. But of course, Portugal have all the talent, so it's going to be awesome to see Fernando Santos maybe play a different style with different players like Rafael Leao now, who's been absolutely amazing this season. Rafael Leao has been an absolute baller. Maybe we get to see more of Matteo Nunes, the great player Sporting, more of Otavio, who did fantastic in March. So, look, this side is no doubt one of the most talented teams in the world, but they just have a manager who's just so boring in his playing style. And I hope he continues his ways that he did in March, but I think they're going to finish 3rd in this group because I simply cannot trust Fernando Santos. In 2nd position, I think it will be Switzerland. Ever since Murat Yakin has taken over as the manager, my God, Switzerland have been playing much better. We always know they're a good team with a lot of talent, but now they're putting the pieces together. After a fantastic Euros, they're continuing to elevate their play. We all know, once Granit Xhaka leaves Arsenal and plays for Switzerland, he turns into a great midfielder. Arsenal fans will be pissed about that. We look at Freuler in the midfield next to him. Shaqiri, yes, he moved to the MLS, but he's still very talented and valuable to the Swiss national team. Mbolo, Okafor, they're vital in the attack. They play a great style of brand of football, Switzerland. And under Murat Yakin, they still can get even better and better. They're going to have a tough group in the World Cup, so this is a good preparation for them. And I think they can finish 2nd in the group. And in 1st position, no doubt about it, it is Spain. Luis Enrique, one of the best international managers we have right now. Absolutely top 2 or top 3. Maybe even number 1. You guys let me know in the comment section down below who is the best manager in international football at the moment. While we know what they're going to play. Possession style of football, tire the team out, but they need to get some goal scorers. If you're still going to rely on Morata, I don't know what to say. He's a great link-up player and all this sort of stuff, but the guy just cannot score. He just can't. He just can't. So, can they develop a goal scorer? Can Ferran Torres become that goal scorer? Possibly. But we know they're going to dominate teams with possession, tire out teams. It's just a matter of them scoring. If they can get the goal scoring, they're going to be a serious problem at the World Cup. And I think they're going to not cruise through this group. I think they're going to relatively win the group and finish 1st place. We move on to Group A3, where we have Italy, Germany, England, and Hungary. In 4th position, I think it's going to be Hungary. If you underestimate this team, they will hurt you. Just like at the Euros. Look what happened to France. They underestimated them. They got a draw. Germany underestimated them. They got a 2-2 draw. So this team is no doubt a difficult opponent. With Dominik Szoboszlai now back in the squad after being injured for the Euros last summer, which was a hard injury to take, but he's such a talented player. I recently watched Roland Salai of Freiburg. Wow, that guy is a good player too. Of course, Gulaski in goal. You got Orban leading the defense. So, Hungary are going to make life difficult. Marco Rossi, a very good manager. But it's going to be difficult. Through 6 games against these 3 teams, maybe they can beat Italy, because we know Italy are just fragile at the moment. But I think they're going to finish last in the group. But I hope all the best to Hungary, as they have been performing very well in the last couple of years. In 3rd position, I think it's going to be the Azzurri, Italy. Look, it's a disappointing time once again. Missing out on another World Cup. Really? Really? Man, it does hurt. It really does hurt. Now they have to go through a whole new rebuild. Maybe not in the midfield. Their midfield is set. Defensively, yes, they got some new pieces coming in, like Bastoni, Spinazzola, these sort of guys. But I'm just looking at that attack, and I'm just thinking to myself, if Chiesa isn't playing, where's the goals going to come from? Should they call back up Balotelli, who recently just scored 5 goals in a game, including a absolutely ridiculous and nasty Rabona goal? It might have to come to that for this team, because where is the attacking players? You can try Scamacca at Sassuolo. Okay, that could be an option. I don't want to see any more Belotti or Immobile. I just don't. So I think they're going to finish third in the group, but they really need to think about reshuffling that attack especially. So Italy are going to finish third in the group. In second position, I think it will be England. Now, Gareth Southgate, when you face Germany, don't play negative football. Take the game to Germany. Let's see how well you can do against the top teams in the world to prepare yourself for the World Cup. If you're going to play negative, you're not going to win the World Cup. I'm sorry. When was the last team who played a negative style of football win the World Cup? You let me know in the comments. So I want to see some good lineup changes as well. Please, please, please play Tomori. Play Tomori. You're going to have Harry Kane, the vocal point of this side. But I just wonder if Gareth Southgate is still the manager. That's just my point of view from the outside looking in. So they got all the talent in the world. Nobody's denying that. But England it's down to Gareth Southgate and his tactics. And I think they're going to finish second. They're going to still do well at the World Cup. I just want to see how well they do against Germany. So England are going to finish second. In first position, I think it's going to be Germany. New era under Hansi Flick. And that new era is looking scary. If they can get some goal scorers in this side, and if Kai Havertz can be the main man, watch out. I'm telling you, look at this defender, Nico Schlotterbeck from Freiburg, who just now made a transfer to Dortmund. This guy is a serious center back. Rudiger next to him. Hendricks out wide as the right back. Kimmich, Gundogan, Goretzka, Musiala. They have so many options in the midfield. So many options. It's just a matter of, for Hansi Flick, can you just get a goal scorer who can consistently get you the goals? You got Leroy Sané, Gnabry, Thomas Muller, Timo Werner, and maybe Adeyemi can become that guy. Who knows? But I think Germany, they're in a great direction. And Hansi Flick, when you have a manager like that, who's just a serial winner, he's going to feed it into these players. So I think Germany are going to finish first, and they're going to be a serious problem at the World Cup. And now we are into the final predictions of Group A4 with Wales, Poland, Netherlands, and Belgium. In fourth position, I think it's going to be Wales, and that's not saying that they're not a good side. They can beat Poland twice. I generally do think that, but they have bigger aspirations at the moment, and that's focusing on their home playoff to qualify for the World Cup. So I think Robert Page is definitely going to shift the side and make a lot of changes heading into that game, and that might hinder their results in the Nations League, but they have obviously good players, and once Gareth Bale gets away from Madrid, he actually plays fantastically, as we saw in March against Austria. And with Ramsey, Dan James, and Harry Wilson, and all these guys, they have a lot of talent, but I just think they're going to focus so much on that playoff against either Scotland or Ukraine that this might hinder their results in the Nations League. So I think they're going to finish last in the group. In third position, I think it will be Poland. Also, under a new era after Paulo Sousa left the team, he basically just said, adios, I don't want to be here anymore. So they're in a little bit of a new era, trying to find a new style of play, heading into the World Cup, of course, they're in a group that's very much winnable, and they can finish second in their group, possibly. So I think for Poland, it's now about finding a new identity against the tough teams in this group, against Wales, Belgium, and Netherlands. When you still have Lewandowski, you're good. One of the best strikers in the world. You still got a great goalkeeper in Szczesny. You have a good midfield with Zielinski. Absolutely love this player from Napoli. Zielinski is a baller, by the way. So I think Poland, they're in a good direction, but they just need to find a new style of play. And I think with the Nations League, that is a great opportunity. But I think they're going to finish third in the group. In second position, I think it's going to be Belgium. All right. Roberto Martinez, this is going to be his last year. After the World Cup, he's done. I don't see him managing into the Euros. So this is now the time for this side to win something. I don't care about winning the Nations League. I mean the Euros or the World Cup. You still got fantastic players. Lukaku, Kevin De Bruyne, Eden Hazard, when he's not injured. So this team has got a lot of great talent. But as we know with Belgium, basically the Spurs of international football, when there's high expectations, they falter. So with the Nations League, It's another preparation for the World Cup against tough opponents like Netherlands, Poland, and Wales. So I think they're going to crumble against Netherlands, but they could easily beat Poland and Wales. So I think they're going to finish second in the group. And in first position, I think it will be the Netherlands. Louis van Gaal, man. Love this manager. He's been undefeated since taking over once again as the Dutch manager. We know they got a great defense. Van Dijk, De Vrij, De Ligt, Dumfries, Nathan Ake. Nathan Ake has been playing better, by the way, for Man City. So they're good there. Midfield, okay, I don't think Donny van de Beek is going to play because he wasn't selected. So Frankie de Jong, Koopmeiners, who's a good player, and maybe it will be Klaassen or De Roon from Atalanta. So they're good in that department as well. Now, attacking-wise, what does Louis van Gaal want to do with this team? Does he want to play Memphis Depay at the false 9 role? Or what? Does he want to start Luuk de Jong? Possibly. Obviously, Danjuma has been excellent with Villarreal. So there's a lot of cool options for Louis van Gaal. But simply, I picked him first because of him. Louis van Gaal just knows how to manage international football. He knows how to get the best out of his players. So I think they're going to finish first, and they're going to do well at the World Cup. So Netherlands to win this group. Whew! Finally done. The predictions of the Nations League are out. That was a lot of talking. If you all watched this far, thank you very much, and thank you for listening to my annoying voice, and thank you once again for supporting the channel. Remember, if you want to follow me on my social media, you want to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, join my Discord. All those links are in the description down below. Give your predictions of each Nations League group. Have a beautiful day. There will be some match vlogs, possibly. I got to see, how the match vlogs work for the Finland national team games for the Nations League in June. But have a beautiful day. Stay safe in this crazy world. I've done enough talking, and adios.